Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope you are in a good conditions. Nice to get you in this critical listening course. And then this is a welcoming video that is intended to inform you the introductions to the critical listening course. And this video will tell you the information about the course descriptions, course learning outcomes, course topics, and then references used for this subject. First of all, I would like to describe the course at general. Basically, critical listening course develop the ability of responding monologue listening tasks, including various genres. And this subject is intended to enrich students' knowledge in comprehending the elements of English for proficiency tests or paper-based TOEFL, and then the strategies of TOEFL listening tests. Through this course, you are hopefully being able, 1, to explain the strategies for the listening sections, especially for TOEFL tests, and then the second, to apply the strategies for the listening sections in answering the TOEFL listening questions, 3, to analyze the listening questions, and then the last, to answer the TOEFL listening questions correctly. During one semester, we will discuss all strategies that can be used to you or help you to answer the listening questions. Basically, listening comprehensions on paper-based TOEFL consists of 50 questions, and then you will listen to the recorded materials and respond to multiple choice questions about the material. The first, you must listen carefully because why? Because you will hear the recording one time only, and then the material on the recording is not written in your textbook. There are 3 parts in TOEFL listening sections. They are short dialogues, long conversations, and then talks. And then let's discuss it one by one. First, short dialogues. Short dialogues are 2-line dialogues between 2 speakers, each followed by a multiple choice questions. Here, you will listen to each short dialogue and questions on the recording and then choose the best answer to each questions from the 4 choices in your textbook. And then the 30 questions short dialogues and then the 30 short dialogues about them make up part A of the paper TOEFL test. Long conversations are 60 until 90-second conversations on casual topics between students, and then each followed by a number of multiple choices questions. Here you will listen to each long conversations and each of the questions that accompany it on the recording, and then choose the best answer to each question from the 4 choices in your textbook. The 2 conversations and the 7 to 9 questions that accompany them make up part B on the paper TOEFL test. Last, it is about talks. Talks are 60 until 90-second talks about school life or on academic subjects, each followed by a number of multiple choice questions. Here you will listen to each lecture and each of the questions from the 4 choices in your textbook. The 3 lectures and then the 11 until 13 questions that accompany them make up part C of the paper TOEFL test. Based on Longman, actually there are 6 general strategies for listening conversations. The first, you have to be familiar with the directions. The second, you listen carefully to the passage. The third, you know where the easier and the more difficult questions are generally found. The 4, you will be familiar with the pacing of the test. The 5, never leave any answers blank on your sheet. And then the last one, use any remaining time to look ahead at the answers to the questions that follow. Well, through this course, we will have at least 10 strategies covering 27 skills to answer TOEFL listening questions. First strategy, it is about short dialogues, and then about strategies for short dialogues. There are 3 skills. The first skills we will talk about focus on the last line. The second skill, you will learn about choose answers with synonyms, and then the third skills, you have to learn about how to avoid similar sound. For the second strategy is short dialogue for who, what, and where. There are 3 skills in this strategy. The first skill is draw conclusions about who, what, where. The second skill is listen for who or what in passive. And then the last, listen for who and what with multiple nouns. We come to the third strategy. It is about short dialogues for negative. There are 4 skills in this strategy. The first skill is listen for negative expressions. And the second skill, you have to listen for double negative expression. The third skill is about listen for almost negative expressions. And then the last, you have to listen for negative with comparative. The fourth strategy is short dialogues for functions. There are 3 skills under this strategy. The first is about listen for expressions of agreement. The second is about listen for expressions of uncertainty and suggestions. And then the last, listen for empathic expressions of surprise. We come to the fifth strategy. It is about contrary meanings. And then there are 2 skills under this strategy. They are listen for wishes and listen for untrue conditions. In the sixth strategy, for idiomatic language, there are 2 skills. They are listening for 2 and 3 part verbs and then listening for idioms. What about the 7th and 8th strategy? The 7th strategy, it is about long conversations before listening. There are 2 skills under this strategy. The first skill is about you have to be able to anticipate the topics and then anticipate the questions. And then the 8th strategy, it is about long conversations after listening. There are 3 skills under this strategy. The first skill is about determining the topic. The second one, drawing conclusions about who, what, when, and where. And the last is about listening for answers in order. The 9th strategy, it is about long talks before listening. There are 2 skills under this strategy. The first skill is about how to anticipate the topic, and the second skill is about how to anticipate the questions. And in the last strategy, it is about long talk after listening. There are 3 skills under this last strategy. The first skill is about how to determine the topic. The second, how to draw conclusions about who, what, when, and where. And then the last strategy skills, it is about listen for answers in order. Yeah, that's all the strategy, yeah, that can be used by you to answer the questions, yeah, in the listening sections. For further reading, you can use several references such as from Gear and Gear 2014 entitled Cambridge Preparations for the TOEFL Textbook with Online Practice Test, and the second resource from Dosen 2017 entitled Baron's Essential Word for the TOEFL, and then the last from Rogers Bruce, the entitle is The Complete Guide to the TOEFLs. Alright, I think that's all information that I can tell to you. Next video, we will discuss the first topic about TOEFL listening strategy for short dialogue, which covered 3 skills. It will be interesting, so don't miss the next video. See you and have a good learning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.